How Stoics found strength in simplicity. The illusion of more. We live in a world addicted to more. More money, more possessions, more recognition, more of everything. Yet the more we gather, the emptier we feel. Every achievement opens the door to a new desire. Every possession breeds the craving for another. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, saw this trap long before our modern age. They lived in a world of wealth, empires, and luxury. Yet they discovered something timeless. Strength comes not from excess, but from simplicity. Simplicity was not poverty. It was freedom. It was clarity. It was power over the one thing no wealth could buy: peace of mind. Today, let's explore how the Stoics found strength in simplicity and how we can apply their wisdom to live fuller, freer lives. Why more never satisfies. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Think about that. You can own half the world and still feel poor because your hunger is never satisfied. Our modern lives prove Seneca's warning. We live in bigger houses, drive faster cars, and carry devices that kings of old would envy. Yet stress, anxiety, and restlessness rise with every passing decade. The Stoics understood why. Desire has no finish line. The more you feed it, the hungrier it grows. Simplicity, then, was their rebellion. It was their way of stepping off the treadmill of endless craving. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Simplicity. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, lived surrounded by wealth, servants, and luxuries. Yet his private reflections in Meditations reveal a man suspicious of extravagance. He reminded himself constantly, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Here was an emperor reminding himself to sleep on simple beds, to eat plain food, to value bread and olives more than banquets. Why? Because Marcus knew when you depend on luxury, you become its slave. When you can be content with little, you cannot be broken. Epictetus, the slave who chose freedom. Epictetus was born a slave. He owned nothing, not even his own body, after a cruel master left him crippled for life. And yet, he became one of the freest men in history. Epictetus taught, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. His strength came not from what he had, but from what he no longer needed. By detaching his happiness from possessions, Epictetus discovered a form of wealth no master could take away. His life proves a radical Stoic truth. Simplicity is not weakness, it is invincibility. Seneca, wealth with wisdom. Unlike Epictetus, Seneca was wealthy. He was an advisor to emperors, a man with estates, servants, and libraries. But Seneca feared wealth's corruption. That's why he practiced voluntary discomfort. He would spend days eating the cheapest food, sleeping on hard floors, wearing coarse clothes, just to remind himself, is this what I feared? This practice stripped fear from his soul. If he could live happily with little, then wealth was no longer a chain around his neck. Seneca's lesson for us: simplicity is not rejecting wealth. It's about making sure wealth never owns you. The strength of voluntary simplicity. The Stoics practiced simplicity not just when forced by circumstance, but by choice. They deliberately chose less so that when life stripped things away, they remained strong. Simple meals trained gratitude. Simple clothing trained humility. Simple living trained resilience. By practicing with little, they prepared themselves for everything. Why complexity weakens us. Modern life confuses us with endless choices. what to wear, what to buy, what to eat, what to watch. We live in mental clutter. The Stoics knew that complexity breeds distraction. When your life is filled with unnecessary wants, your soul is restless. Simplicity, by contrast, sharpens focus. It clears the fog. It returns power to what truly matters: virtue, wisdom, love, and inner strength. Simplicity in action. So how do we apply this Stoic simplicity today? 1. Declutter your desires. Ask, do I really need this, or am I chasing it because others do? 2. Practice voluntary discomfort. Sleep without a pillow. Skip a fancy meal. Wear simple clothes. Train your soul to need less. 3. Value time over possessions. Seneca reminded us, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Things can be replaced. Time cannot. 4. Reframe wealth. True wealth is freedom from craving, not accumulation of goods. Simplicity in relationships. The Stoics also applied simplicity to relationships. Friendship, they believed, was not built on gifts, status, or appearances. It was built on virtue, on being someone worth trusting. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to value sincerity over flattery, character over charm, because simple, honest relationships are the strongest ones. Nature, the Stoic teacher of simplicity. The Stoics often turned to nature as their guide. A tree does not crave jewels to be beautiful. The ocean does not need gold to be majestic. The stars do not compete for recognition. They simply shine. To live simply is to live like nature, purposeful, unburdened, free. Simplicity as inner strength. Here lies the Stoic secret. Simplicity is not deprivation. It is liberation. When you own fewer things can own you. When you need less, you fear less. When your happiness comes from within, no outside force can steal it. The world will always tempt you with more, but the Stoic chooses simplicity, not because they cannot have more, but because they know they don't need it. That is true strength. Practical Stoic exercises for simplicity. Let's end with some concrete practices. 1. Daily reflection. Each night, ask yourself, what did I desire today that I did not need? Did it bring peace or restlessness? 2. Gratitude practice. Write down 3 simple things you're thankful for: clean water, a roof, a meal. This builds appreciation for what truly matters. 3. Voluntary discomfort. Once a week, eat plainly, dress simply, or walk instead of driving. Remind yourself that comfort is optional, not necessary. 4. Time audit. Track where your time goes. Cut out needless distractions. Simplicity is not just about possessions, it's about guarding your attention. 5. Nature walks. Spend time in silence observing nature. Notice how beauty requires no excess, no decoration, no noise. The wealth of less. The Stoics lived in empires filled with riches, temptations, and luxuries, yet their greatest wealth was simplicity. Marcus Aurelius could have had banquets every night. He chose bread and olives. Seneca could have lived in indulgence. He trained himself in poverty. Epictetus had nothing, and yet was rich in freedom. Their lesson is clear. Simplicity is strength. Simplicity is freedom. Simplicity is wisdom. So the next time you feel pressured to chase more, stop. Ask yourself, what if happiness is not in adding, but in subtracting? What if the secret of life is not more, but less? Because in simplicity, you do not lose. You gain. You gain clarity. You gain peace. You gain strength that no empire, no wealth,
no misfortune can ever take away. True wealth is not measured in possessions, but in peace of mind. The less you need, the freer you are. The Stoics remind us simplicity is not about having less, it is about living more. If this video inspired you, remember, simplicity is a practice. Start small. Start today. Follow us for more Stoic wisdom to master your mind, simplify your life, and strengthen your soul. Subscribe for weekly lessons on philosophy, resilience, and the art of living wisely.